"Have we met before?" the handsome CEO asks. Secretary Hyun can only deny knowing him, but her nervous behavior betrays her. The CEO smirks in disbelief as he stands up and walks over to her. Moving closer, he whispers into her ears, asking why his body is reacting to her like a sixth sense if she is a stranger like she claims. He backs her against the door, placing a leg between her thighs. Secretary Hyun stares up at him shyly. She watches as he grabs her hand and clasps it with his, lowering his head to plant a kiss on her lips. Secretary Hyun, who thinks her life would be forever dry, never thought she'd meet a man who had lost interest in everything. And as their lives begin to intertwine, sparks begin to fly. In a beautiful guest house, CEO Cha Joo-wan is on a phone call with his secretary, Kim Woo-jin. Woo-jin is asking his boss if he likes the room, to which Cha Joo-wan replies and says it's organized. His secretary is pleased because it was a late-minute arrangement. Cha Joo-wan wonders why his assistant is so worried. He expects his assistant to also take a vacation since he is on one. He tells Woo-jin that he is as essential as the CEO to the company. Woo-jin laughs it off and asks his boss when he is coming back. Cha Joo-wan says he isn't sure, and that he plans to have as much fun as possible. Assistant Woo-jin, in shock, jumps up and shouts loudly, forgetting he is in the office. Sitting down shamefully, he asks his boss if he is out of his mind and why he would go on an open-ended vacation when his company is in its busy season. Cha Joo-wan laughs and reminds Woo-jin that this is the reason why he pays him well and promises to be back in a month's time. Woo-jin wails and wonders when he would ever have his own vacation. Cha Joo-wan answers and tells him to take over the CEO position first. He ends the call, not bothering with Woo-jin cursing him. Done with unpacking, Woo-jin stretches and decides to take a walk outside. He admires the nice weather as he wonders when last he had a break. Aboard a flight, our heroine, Hyun Seo-jin, is sitting at the window seat. She stares out of the window sadly as she thinks about the events that brought her here. She recalls the day her nightmare started, when her life went downhill like a tragic drama. She is standing in front of her boss reporting when he asks if she left his lunch schedule open. She confirms she did, adding that she already booked a restaurant for his lunch with his daughter and his future son-in-law, making her boss pleased with her. The door opens then, and the boss's daughter, Sa-rang, comes in with a man. She greets Hyun Seo-jin warmly. Seo-jin smiles back at her but is shocked when the boss's son-in-law steps in. Sa-rang grabs the man's arm lovingly and introduces him to Seo-jin as her oppa and the man she wants to marry. Seo-jin watches as the man smiles, saying it is his first time meeting her. He reveals his name is Oh Hyun-jae. Heartbroken, Seo-jin congratulates the two on their engagement and rushes out of the room. She turns back to see her boss holding the man. Clearly, he is satisfied with his future son-in-law. Seo-jin is in pain. Oh Hyun-jae says it is his first time meeting her, but we see that there are pictures in her house with them together. Seo-jin has been with him for 10 years. She takes down their pictures, angry at him for abandoning her without any warning and turning them into strangers. As Seo-jin admires the sky outside the plane, she remembers how her life turned into a mess after seeing her boyfriend with another woman. She kept making mistakes at work, causing her to be reprimanded many times. She didn't expect to be this affected by his betrayal. Due to this, our female lead decides to resign. Her boss doesn't want to let her go, but Seo-jin insists. She cannot face this reality anymore or watch as her life crumbles around her, so she chooses to escape. Meanwhile, CEO Cha Joo-wan is still on his walk. He is busy stretching when he sees a cab pull up outside the guest house, and the driver helps a gorgeous woman out with her luggage. Cha Joo-wan is confused when he sees them and wonders who they are. "Excuse me," he says as he approaches the lady. The lady turns out to be Seo-jin. She turns and greets him, asking if this is Sky Pension and if there are still any rooms available since she failed to make a reservation. Cha Joo-wan is swimming in confusion now. He remembers his secretary telling him he bought the whole guest house for his boss's vacation. Since it was nice and secluded, he figured it would be good for his boss's personal retreat. Cha Joo-wan was fine with this as he wanted somewhere empty. Cha Joo-wan is brought back to the present when Seo-jin asks to see the boss. He assesses her from top to bottom and concludes that she is here on vacation. He understands that she still thinks the guest house is open for business, not knowing it has been bought out by him. All he needs to do now is tell her that it is private property and not a pension. But looking into her beautiful eyes, Cha Joo-wan's heart wavers. He smiles and decides that since he is the owner, he can do whatever he wants. He invites Seo Hyun-jin in, assuring her that he is the one in charge and that there are rooms available. Seo Hyun-jin is relieved and follows Joo-wan into the building. He leads her to a huge room decorated in pink and says she can stay there. Seo Hyun-jin is hesitant, but Joo-wan tells her that there are no other guests. He stays on the first floor so she can feel free and make herself at home. Seo Hyun-jin asks about the rate and Joo-wan breaks into a sweat. He has no idea how much a place like this would cost, and if it is even peak season. Still thinking, he decides it shouldn't be as expensive as a hotel, but then how much should he charge? Seo Hyun-jin calls out, "Sir?" But Joo-wan still has no idea. He wants to know how long she is staying for, and when she says she hasn't decided, he tells her he will give her the rate after he makes a quick call. Seo Hyun-jin assures him that it is fine. He promises to charge her the standard room rate and to find him if she needs anything. Seo Hyun-jin agrees and thanks him, thinking the place must be so busy. Our almighty CEO runs out to make a distress call to his secretary Kim. He asks him what the nightly rate for a vacation place costs. Secretary Kim is bewildered and wonders why his boss wants to know all of a sudden. Joo-wan tells him not to bother anymore, opening his laptop to research it himself. He says he will go with a rough guess. Secretary Kim is panicking now. He asks his boss what he is up to. Joo-wan doesn't answer, instead asking him if there are quarters for helpers and caretakers. Secretary Kim says yes. He explained that before on the earlier call. Joo-wan apologizes and tells him to keep up the good work, then hangs up the phone. Sitting at his desk, he smiles and thinks this will actually be more fun than staying alone. After all, it is a vacation. Settled into her room, Seo Hyun-jin is texting with her friend. She sits on the bed and opens Jinju's message, laughing when she sees it is a lot. Suddenly, her phone begins to ring and it is her friend calling. Seo Hyun-jin picks the call and mocks her for being so impatient. She explains that she was just about to reply to her messages. Her friend, clearly the bubbly type, complains that waiting for Seo Hyun-jin to reply has aged her by a decade. She adds that anytime Seo Hyun-jin disappears, it makes her worry. Seo Hyun-jin can sense her friend's worry and apologizes. She says it was so chaotic, which is why she couldn't inform her beforehand. Jinju asks her where she is now, and Seo Hyun-jin replies she is on Jeju Island. Her friend is in disbelief that the introvert, Seo Hyun-jin, can travel so far on her own. Seo Hyun-jin lies on the bed as she expresses her feelings. "I just wanted to get out of Seoul as fast as I could," she says. She just needed to escape and leave Seoul, even if only for a short while. Her friend wants to know if Hyun-jae has reached out to her since that day at her boss's office. Seo Hyun reveals that he hasn't. Jinju is angry and promises to beat up Hyun-jae if she ever sees him. Seo Hyun curls up on the bed. Although sad, she doesn't want to blame him, saying she also wasn't the most dedicated girlfriend. She remembers a time when they were together, trying to get intimate. Seo Hyun isn't able to go through the last step and stops Hyun-jae. He is frustrated and asks why again. Seo Hyun is embarrassed and lies that it is that time of the month, trying to pretend that she is on her period. Hyun-jae is upset, however, and tells her if she doesn't want it to just say it, as he knows when she is on her period and she clearly isn't on. Tired, he promises not to force it and pulls her close so they can cuddle and sleep. "I'm sorry," Seo Hyun says. Cha Joo-wan is still thinking about his unexpected guest. Recalling her lonely figure, Cha Joo-wan wonders what her story is. He worries about her since she hasn't come out of her room, afraid something bad might have happened to her. He jogs around the guest house thinking about how thin Seo Hyun is and how she looks like she could break easily. He, however, remembers a part of her that isn't thin: her bust. Recalling her full chest, Joo-wan turns red in the face. He acknowledges that she isn't thin in all places. The object of his thoughts, Seo Hyun, is taking a walk on the beach. Still dressed in her long blue gown without the jacket, she looks stunning. A scarf is wrapped around her long neck. With her shoes pulled off and held in her hands, Seo Jin admires the view. She reveals it has been a long time since she has been to a beach. As she walks further, a heavy wind pulls her scarf off of her neck and into the ocean. Seo Jin is annoyed but has no choice but to go into the water to retrieve it. A delicate lady leaves her shoes on the sand, walking further and further into the ocean. This is the scene Cha Joo-wan catches sight of while on his run. He stops in shock as he watches her go deeper, and he begins to sweat. She is about to commit suicide, he thinks. Seo Jin doesn't know that behind her, a man has created a tragic drama scene of suicide and is still busy trying to reach for her scarf. She gets within reach of it, and just as she is about to grab it, someone pulls her from behind, shouting, "Guest!" Seo Jin is surprised to see Cha Joo-wan holding her and responds, "Sir?" Joo-wan yells at her to get out of the water. Seo Jin asks him to give her a moment as she wants to grab her scarf. But lost in his dramatics, Cha Joo-wan doesn't hear her and keeps trying to get her out of the water. He tries to convince her that she is still young and suicide isn't worth it. Seo Jin is so frustrated. "What is wrong with you? Let go of me for a second," she yells. Pushing him away, she manages to grab her scarf but hears Joo-wan shout from behind her. She turns around to face him, only to see him looking panicked. "My leg" is the last thing he is able to whisper before he goes underwater. Seo Jin's last panicked cry of "Sir" echoes around the beach. Cha Joo-wan never expected his saving the beauty scene to turn into him being saved instead. Standing in the water and trying to pull his beautiful female guest out, his legs fail him and begin to cramp, causing him to slip and almost go under. Startled, Seo Jin grabs his hand and puts it on her shoulder. As he murmurs about his leg, she urges him not to lose focus. Looking into his eyes, she tells him to trust her and to put strength on his body. Joo-wan complies, and Seo Jin pulls him along as she swims out of the water. She manages to get them to shore, and they both collapse onto the sand. Joo-wan starts coughing, and Seo Jin hurries to his side to check on him. "Are you all right? How's your leg?" she inquires. Joo-wan says he is fine. He lets out a relieved breath, then turns to Seo Jin and begins to scold her. "Hey you, if you're planning to die, go do it somewhere else. Why would you try to die in front of me?" he warns. Seo Jin is utterly confused. "My scarf just flew off in the wind, so I went in to get it." She explains and scolds Joo-wan for jumping into conclusions. Joo-wan is flustered. He explains that he thought she wanted to commit suicide, so he came to her rescue. The two of them stare at each other before Seo Jin begins to laugh. She tells him he is ridiculous. Her laughter is infectious, and soon Joo-wan is laughing too. Sitting on the warm sand on the beach with the glow of the sun cast upon them, the two strangers share a heartwarming moment. Joo-wan stands up, apologizing for misunderstanding her, and offers for them to head back to the pension together as they are a mess. He stretches his hand out to Seo Jin, still sitting on the floor. Looking at him from below, Seo Jin is struck by how handsome he is. She is scared because this stranger has just made her laugh without her realizing it. She reminds herself that she came here to relax alone and not get involved with anyone. With that resolve, she slaps away Joo-wan's hand and brushes past him coldly with an "excuse me." Joo-wan is stunned. He can't help but feel bad since he only wanted to help her. He wonders why she had to push him away so awkwardly. He follows behind her as they head back to the pension. Watching her, he notices that she is guarded and puts up a wall against people, which he tells her. Seo Jin gives him a dismissive, "Is that so?" and doesn't say anything further. Joo-wan is ticked, but continues trying to make her talk. He says people are more welcoming to a handsome guy like him, and gives a silly smile. Seo Jin doesn't even look back as she points out that people are also friendly to an attractive woman like her. Pissed, Joo-wan asks why she came here alone if she really has so many admirers. Seo Jin doesn't even spare him a glance as she replies, "That is exactly why she came alone, because the attention is exhausting." Understanding that she is referring to him, Joo-wan is annoyed and walks past her, going on his way. Seo Jin lets him go. Staring at his angry back as he walks away, Seo Jin can't help but smile at how childish he is. Such a kid. Joo-wan has returned to the pension and is taking a shower. He can't stop thinking of Seo-jin. Well, we can't stop thinking of him because those muscles, and how she gets on his nerves. He scoffs as he mutters childishly that there can't be that many guys around her anyway. The next instant, he smiles as he admits that she stirs up a strange sense of competitiveness in him. At the same time, Seo-jin is coming out of the bathroom after her shower. She feels refreshed and begins to think about what she should eat for dinner since she is hungry. There is a knock on her door, and she goes to open it only to see Joo-wan standing there with a smile. He asks her if she's hungry and if she has any idea on what to eat. Seo-jin says she doesn't and wants to know if he knows any good restaurants nearby. Joo-wan laughs like a villain as he tells her he knows just the place. The two are outdoors at what seems to a park. There is a table and bench nearby. Joo-wan stands over the grill as he flips the meat while Seo-jin watches, drooling. She takes a sip of wine to curb her hunger and studies Joo-wan. He has taken off his outer shirt, only wearing a sleeveless black shirt which reveals his muscled arms. I see your plan now. CEO Cha. Watching Joo-wan, her mind goes to her ex, Hyun-jae, and she starts thinking about him. Cha Joo-wan, thinking she is admiring him, smiles proudly, asking her not to stare too much and to try to hold back a bit so he won't get shy. Rattled that she has been caught, Seo-jin scolds him and tells him to focus on trying not to burn the meat. Soon, Joo-wan is done grilling and serves the food. Seo-jin is so happy her whole face lights up, and she thanks Joo-wan. He tells her to enjoy the food, but can't help but feel unhappy that she only becomes this happy in front of food. He fills her glass and tells her they should use this chance to introduce themselves. He reveals his name is Cha Joo-wan. Seo-jin tells him her name is Hyun Seo-jin. Joo-wan teases her and asks if someone as guarded as her can raise a toast. Seo-jin says she can and toasts him. Done with dinner, Seo-jin settles on the bench in front of the fire and sips her drink. Joo-wan offers her some snacks to go along with the wine and she accepts them. Watching her, Joo-wan praises her alcohol tolerance, but she tells him it is a necessary skill in her line of work. Joo-wan can't stop staring at her. He watches her as she stares sadly into her drink. He can't resist telling her his observations about how she seems to be someone with a tragic story, and that was why he misunderstood her at the beach. Seo-jin laughs and admits she does have a story, but she didn't come to a beautiful place like this just to end things. Joo-wan is curious and asks to hear about it. Seo-jin tells him it is nothing special, and is actually a common story. The man she dated for over 10 years is marrying another woman without word to her. Joo-wan is angry on her behalf and calls her ex a jerk. He says even from a man's perspective, her ex is a loser, and an embarrassment with no loyalty, no self-respect, and no decency. His words make Seo-jin laugh, and she agrees that Hyun-jae is a jerk. Joo-wan teases Seo-jin, bringing up her former claim of being popular, yet she is actually going through heartbreak alone. Seo-jin says she is popular, but is so boring that her boyfriend got tired of her. She admits that life is uninteresting to her, and she doesn't know what to do. Her trip here is her first alone trip in her entire life. She mocks herself, wondering why it is after a world-shattering betrayal she decides to find herself. Listening to her rant, Joo-wan picks up his drink. Seo-jin continues talking as she expresses how free she feels now and wants to do things she hasn't done before. Joo-wan turns around and asks what those things are. To his shock, Seo-jin suddenly slides over to his side and leans in to kiss him. Her soft, warm lips cover his own while he stares open-eyed. Leaning back and looking straight into his eyes, she tells him it is things like this she wants to try out. Cha Joo-wan can't believe what just happened. Looking at Seo-jin sitting back down after kissing him, he can't help but question her. What was that? Seo-jin, feeling shy, can't look him in the eye. She watches the fire as she insists it meant nothing, and she just wanted to try it. Joo-wan drops his glass of wine and asks her if it was just a kiss she wanted to try. Staring into his eyes, she explains she wants to try something daring, something surreal. Moving until he is closer to her, Joo-wan asks if kissing a stranger she met is her idea of being daring. He tells her what happened didn't even count as a kiss and was more like a peck or an accidental brush of lips. Seo Jin feels more embarrassed and thinks that Joo-wan must have been with a lot of women. Nervous, she tells Joo-wan he must have kissed a lot since he keeps track of each one. Her words are cut off when Joo-wan grabs her face and kisses her deeply. Pulling back from her, he tells her as an adult, she has to go all the way for it to be called a proper kiss. Suddenly, Seo Jin hugs Joo-wan around the neck, leaning in to whisper in his ear, "I want to go further." And with that, the pair get intimate. If you know, you know. Hours later, Joo-wan is ready to go again, but Seo Jin has passed out. Joo-wan smiles as he watches her pretty sleeping face. "Look what you've done to me, Seo Jin," he murmurs as he strokes her face. "You must take responsibility now." In a hotel on the other side of Seoul, scumbag Oh Hyun-jae is busy surprising his new girlfriend. Covering her eyes, he leads her into a room. Sarang is anxious as she asks what it is. Hyun-jae takes his hand off her face, and she is faced with his surprise. He has prepared different gifts for her, along with a bouquet of flowers. Sarang is touched when he wishes them a happy 150th day. She hugs him excitedly, declaring how happy she is. The two settle down on a couch with glasses of wine in hand. Sarang moans about how good this feels, and Hyun-jae is proud since he prepared all the gifts himself, and his efforts have paid off. Touched, Sarang leans over to kiss him, telling him she loves him. Hyun-jae makes the greatest mistake ever trying to tell Sarang he loves her. He whispers the name Jin-ah, calling her by another woman's name. Sarang pulls away angrily. "What did you just say, Appa?" she questions. Hyun-jae doesn't know how to reply, making Sarang even angrier. She grabs her bag and makes to leave. Hyun-jae panics, asking why she's leaving. Sarang says she doesn't want to be with a man who can't even get her name right. Hyun-jae holds her back and apologizes, saying it was a mistake. He asks her not to leave since they came here to have a good time, but Sarang reminds him that he was the one who ruined such a good day. She wrenches her arm away from him and walks out. Hyun-jae is left feeling disappointed in the room. Like the real man he is, Hyun-jae decides to go to a bar to drink off his sorrows. As he is drinking, his friend shows up. He wonders why Hyun-jae is drinking alone, acting pitiful. He remembers Hyun-jae saying he was spending the day with his fiancée and asks where she is. Hyun-jae explains that she left because he ruined her mood by calling her another woman's name while kissing. His friend begins to laugh at his misfortune and mocks him for sulking because he was dumped. Hyun-jae is annoyed and calls his friend too loud. He explains that he didn't get dumped. His friend stops laughing but asks him if he is ready to marry someone like Sarang because he'll have to treat her like a princess for the rest of his life. Hyun-jae can't answer this question. His friend wants to know about Seo Jin and if Hyun-jae is still in touch with her. Hyun-jae says no. His friend doesn't understand why he left Seo Jin since she was so devoted, and someone like that is hard to find. Hyun-jae scoffs and says Seo Jin wasn't devoted and had problems just like Sarang. He begins to start a sob story of how they met when they were young, and she was so kind, blah blah, but his friend smacks him on the back. He tells him he is getting what he deserved for treating a good girl like Seo Jin badly, and asks him not to regret later on. Hyun-jae doesn't want to hear that. To him, everything is completely fine. He proudly says that as for Seo Jin, he can get her back whenever he wants. All he has to do is say the word. To her, he is the only one, and she can't find another man. His friend calls him a jerk, but Hyun-jae says it is true. Still sleeping after an eventful night in the guest house on Jeju Island, Seo Jin has no idea that a certain disloyal man still thinks she is his. Or that a certain man who put her through a rough night is staring at her as she sleeps. Cha Joo-wan can't get enough of Seo Jin. Watching her as she sleeps, he can't help but want to know more about this mysterious, fascinating woman. Kissing her on the forehead, he hopes she had a good time just like he did. Waking up the next morning, Seo Jin wonders what came over her. "I must be out of my mind," she thinks. She blushes as she remembers the events of last night. Her asking to go further and then spending all night in bed with Joo-wan. She compares her two intimate encounters, With Hyun-jae, getting intimate felt like an obligation. She never enjoyed it and soon stopped trying to be intimate. Because of that, Hyun-jae often mocked her for being frigid and asked her to see a doctor. After hearing insults like that for a long time, Seo Hyun-jin had begun to believe that there was something wrong with her. Caressing the side of the bed where Joo-wan laid, she whispers her thanks to him for making her feel alive. "Shouldn't you say that to the person involved?" Cha Joo-wan says from the doorway. Seo Hyun-jin is shocked and asks him why he didn't knock. Joo-wan replies that he didn't want to wake her up but didn't expect to come and see her confessing to his pillow. Seo Hyun-jin, embarrassed, pulls the blanket over her head, yelling that it wasn't a confession. Joo-wan agrees and asks her to get up if she's awake, but Seo Hyun-jin doesn't want to until he leaves. Wan jumps on the bed and hugs her from behind, pleading with her to show her face and not be petty. Super embarrassed, Seo Hyun-jin yells at him to just leave already. When he doesn't answer, she finally comes out from beneath the blanket and lets him see her face, asking what is so good about an early morning face. Joo-wan teases her over her puffy eyes. Seo Hyun-jin tries to defend herself and explains it was from crying all night, but remembers what happened and blushes. Joo-wan laughs and teases her more. Frustrated, Seo Hyun-jin tells him to get out, and he finally relents and promises to give her a break. He shows her where the bathroom is and then goes outside. Alone, Seo Hyun-jin can't help but complain about how her body hurts. Opening the bathroom door, she is stunned when she sees the bathwater already prepared and filled with rose petals. In the mirror, she sees a note. "I thought you might have sore muscles, so take a nice bath and relax. I enjoyed last night, so I hope you did too." Seo Hyun-jin is touched as she reads the note and can't help but smile. The scene begins with Seo Hyun-jin in a glass bottle. Since she was young, she has always found it hard to open up to people. Even as a teenager, she learned to smile and act friendly with others, but only within set limits. Even when others tried to get closer to her, she never allowed them to. Not even her ex, Hyun-jae. But why was it so easy for Cha Joo-wan to open her glass doors and let the sunlight in? Sitting in the same park as earlier, Seo Hyun-jin claps her hands excitedly when she sees the delicious spread of food in front of her. She praises the breakfast service. Joo-wan is confused for a moment until Seo Hyun-jin asks if the food isn't included in the budget. Joo-wan then remembers his fake pension owner persona. He asks Seo Hyun-jin to let him know what she wants to eat before breakfast so he can prepare it for her. He offers to make her soup if her stomach is still upset. Seo Hyun-jin assures him that the food prepared is fine. She takes a bite and is surprised by the taste. It isn't instant food, but home-cooked food. She asks him if he made it himself, and Joo-wan says yes, but says a silent apology to the lady who actually helped him make the whole pot of food. Joo-wan stares at her as she grabs some bread and lathers it with jam. She takes a big bite and asks him why he isn't eating and just watching her. Joo-wan teases her about her big appetite, reminding her that she also ate a lot the last time and she must really love food. He reveals that most ladies would try to act dainty around him. Seo Hyun-jin takes a big gulp of her drink and explains to him that she doesn't want to be dainty, just comfortable. Joo-wan tells her to stay that way and offers her some fruit, making her happy. Halfway through her breakfast, she wants to know if there are any fun places around to visit. Cha Joo-wan tells her there is and offers to take her there, and she accepts. The two get dressed and Joo-wan takes her to the beach where they go kayaking. Joo-wan tries it first and then asks Seo Hyun-jin to also take a turn. Seo Hyun-jin refuses, afraid to. Unfortunately, she is with Joo-wan, and he makes her do it. Standing on the raft with Joo-wan pushing her, Seo Hyun-jin is terrified, but she trusts him not to let go and to keep pushing her. Joo-wan secretly lets go and watches her row further away. Seo Hyun-jin, not hearing his voice any longer, turns back and sees he has let go. Her fright makes her fall into the water. Joo-wan laughs at her and reminds her she was doing so well on her own. Seeing she doesn't respond, he swims closer and spots her lying face down in the water, not moving. Joo-wan immediately panics, calling her name. Seo Hyun-jin stands up and splashes him with water. "Gotcha, why do you keep teasing me?" she yells, laughing. Joo-wan shakes his head and smiles. "You're such a trickster." He tells her dotingly and splashes water on her face. "Look who's talking," she says as she splashes him back. The two start a water fight as their laughter rings happily over the ocean. Elsewhere, disloyal Hyun-jae is taking a walk. He recalls his friend's words asking him if he is ready to marry Sarang and blaming him for disappointing Seo-jin. Scoffing, he brings out his phone and calls Seo-jin, but her number is unavailable. He wonders why her phone is off and says it is making him worry. He texts her friend Jin-ju, asking why Seo-jin's number is off and if everything is okay. Jin-ju's reply comes immediately, warning him never to contact Seo-jin again. Seo-jin, meanwhile, has no idea her cheating ex is trying to get back with her. In the shower, she is enjoying a moment of intimacy with her hot stranger-turned-lover, Cha Joo-wan. The two turn the shower time into an intimate experience. Life is unpredictable. An experience planned out can take an entirely different form because of the person you share it with. Seo-jin shares this mindset. Her first trip was supposed to be something special. It was a trip to reflect on herself, but instead, she found herself living each day like she was someone else. All because of him, Cha Joo-wan. He pampers her, blow-drying her hair, spending all their time together, eating when they feel like and sleeping when they want to and doing whatever they pleased. And whenever they desire each other, they fulfill their needs without hesitation. This adventure has given her the freedom that she desired. But soon she will have to leave, and they will become two strangers that never cross paths again. All she will have left of him are the memories. Seo-jin is reading a book when her phone rings. She sees the caller is Jin-ju and picks the call only to hear her best friend crying. Frightened, she calls out to her asking what is wrong, but hears no response. Downstairs, Cha Joo-wan has just returned home. Grabbing a heavy box, he opens the door and calls out to Seo-jin. He tells her he is back and teases her about how bored she must have been staying home alone. He is glad he went alone, though, because it is about to rain. There is no response, and Cha Joo-wan wonders if she is sleeping. He begins to check all the rooms, searching for her, but she is nowhere to be found. Cha Joo-wan stands there stunned and shaken. Seo-jin, whom Cha Joo-wan has been searching earnestly for, is back in Seoul. Dragging her luggage, she rushes into a hospital. Sitee outside the door of the surgery room is her friend Jin-ju. Jin-ju looks up, sees her and begins to cry. Seo-jin hugs her and comforts her. After hours of petting, her friend says she is okay now. Seo-jin asks about Jin-ju's mother and how the surgery is going. Jin-ju says it's fine, and thankfully they managed to catch the illness on time, so the surgery isn't a major one. Seo-jin is relieved and reveals how worried she was when Jin-ju called out of nowhere, crying. Jin-ju apologizes for calling suddenly, but Seo-jin stops her, telling her she is happy that she called. At the guest house, Cha Joo-wan is still waiting for Seo-jin. Watching the clock, he wonders just where she went. Looking down, he suddenly spots a note left on the table. Opening it, it is a message from Seo-jin, apologizing for leaving suddenly, explaining that a dear friend's mother collapsed and needs surgery, and she has to be there with her. With that, she decides to end their adventure, and thanks Cha Joo-wan for giving her an unforgettable experience. Reading the letter, Cha Joo-wan can't believe it. He spots the money she puts under the letter, and he smirks in anger. Hyun Seo-jin is leaving the hospital with her friend Jin-ju. The surgery is over, and Jin-ju's mother is recovering well. Jin-ju reveals she was on the verge of collapsing when she heard her mother was sick. She is sorry about ruining Seo-jin's trip also, but Seo-jin tells her not to worry as she was about to end the trip anyways. Her friend notices that Seo-jin is looking different and points out that she looks well-rested. Seo-jin blushes as she agrees that she had a lot of fun and that she got lucky on her first trip. Her friend smells gossip and immediately latches onto Seo-jin, asking her to spill the truth and say what happened during the trip. Seo-jin doesn't want to talk and dismisses it as nothing. Jin-ju remembers that Hyun-jae tried to reach Seo-jin and informs her. Seo-jin can't imagine why he would want to talk to her and asks what Jin-ju told him. Her friend proudly says she warned him to get lost and not contact them again. Seo-jin is happy and laughs, praising her friend for a good job. Jin-ju reminds her that Hyun-jae wouldn't stop though. Seo-jin doesn't care. She is planning on changing her number, moving house, and getting a new job. Her friend is impressed by her determination. Seo Hyun throws back her head with a smile on her face. She has decided to change too and stop living her life like a fool. 1 week later, Seo Hyun has started a search for a new job. Standing confidently in front of the examiner as he examines her resume, she smiles boldly. The examiner admires her resume and says with years of experience as an executive assistant, she is more than capable for the job. Seo Hyun thanks him. The examiner wants to know why she left her previous job, but Seo Hyun doesn't feel comfortable answering. The examiner drops the papers shielding his face, and we can see now that it is Secretary Kim. He tells Seo Hyun that she can avoid answering if she's not comfortable and shakes her hand as he looks forward to working together with her. Seo Hyun returns the handshake as she tells him she looks forward to working with him too. She leaves, entering into an elevator. Just as the elevator doors close, the elevator beside it opens and out comes Cha Joo-wan. He walks up to Secretary Kim. "I'm back," he says. He asks Secretary Kim how the interview went. Secretary Kim gathers the documents and hands it over to Cha Joo-wan. He explains that the interview was brief. He finds it a pity that Joo-wan came too late and therefore missed seeing her. He hands her resume to Joo-wan, introducing her as the person Joo-wan will be working with. As Joo-wan stares down at the resume, he is pleasantly surprised and can't hide the smug smile that spreads on his face. "So here you are, Hyun Seo Hyun," he whispers, "coming to me all on your own." "A week. That's how long I spent with her." Cha Joo-wan stares out the window of the guest house. A week has passed since Hyun Seo Hyun left him, and he can't take it anymore. He needs to find her. Picking up his phone, he calls Secretary Kim. "I'm heading back to Seoul. Vacation is over." He tells his secretary. He can't accept this. He has to find Hyun Seo Hyun no matter what. Walking into his office, Cha Joo-wan greets his secretary and informs him he's back. Secretary Kim welcomes him and can't help but make fun of him, saying his vacation must have done him good, and that he looks brighter, although Joo-wan clearly has dark circles under his eyes. Joo-wan ignores him, saying the vacation was great, but it disappeared just like a Midsummer Night's Dream. Secretary Kim doesn't understand what his boss is saying, and Joo-wan waves him off, asking for the results of the interview. Secretary Kim explains the interview was very brief and hands over the resume to Joo-wan. Staring down at the applicant's name and photo, Joo-wan can't hide his smile. Just like fate, when he wants to search for her, she appears in front of him on her own. Hearing him call the applicant's name, Secretary Kim wants to know if his boss knows her. Joo-wan smiles happily as he reveals it's a complicated affair. He asks when she begins work. Seo Hyun has no idea the man she planned to never cross paths with again has become her new boss. She is busy researching places to stay with her friend, Jin-ju. Having found a place she likes, she reveals that she has paid the lease, which Jin-ju is happy about. Seo Hyun thanks Jin-ju for letting her stay at her place until she found a new house. The two girls turn in for the night, but Seo Hyun cannot sleep. Raising her palm to stare at it, she wonders how her handsome stranger is doing since she left him. She tries to figure out what it is she is missing. The freedom she had, the warmth or his presence. Seo Hyun feels bad. She mocks herself for thinking she could easily move on, when all she thinks about was the time she spent with him. She remembers how he teases her, stares at her, and plays with her, and she feels empty inside. Closing her eyes, she tries to convince herself that leaving him and that happiness behind might be the right choice. Sitting in a restaurant, Seo Hyun is having a lunch gathering with her former colleagues. They regret not holding a farewell dinner for her and are grateful that they can eat together. Seo Hyun thanks them, asking them not to worry about her. Her colleagues mention how sad they all were when she left, but looking at her now, they can see that Seo Hyun leaving was the best choice as she looks so much happier now. Seo Hyun laughs and remarks that it must be a result of plenty of rest and good food. The ladies all laugh. After lunch, the girls do not want to part with her. They reveal that they brought a gift for her but left it behind, asking her to wait while they fetch it. Seo Hyun tries to decline as she feels it is too much, but the ladies don't give her a chance, running back into the building to grab the gift and warning her to wait for them. Helpless, Seo Hyun can only stand there and wait for them to return. She is waiting patiently when she hears a voice call out to her from behind. Seo Jin turns back and is surprised to see her ex, Oh Hyun-jae, standing there. Hyun-jae is pissed at her. He wants to know why she hasn't answered his calls or texts, talking about how worried he has been. Seo Jin finds it funny. Worried? She repeats. She is angry because he has no right to be worried about her. When she reached out to him, he avoided her, and now he is talking about being worried. Why now? She asks him. Hyun-jae tries to spin a story about having his own reasons back then, but Seo Jin cuts him off. She wants to know if those reasons have suddenly disappeared and can't understand why he's coming back now when everything is over. Hyun-jae smirks and tells Seo Jin it isn't over, asking her if he ever broke up with her. Seo Jin is confused. What are you even talking about right now? She asks. He grabs her arms as he tells her to think well, but Seo Jin pushes him away. I'm not in the mood to play word games with you, she tells him. She reminds him that he came with Sarang to her office, so he can't suddenly come up now and say that they didn't break up. Hyun-jae tries to play the good guy card, saying he is sorry for making her upset but asking her to calm down. Just then, her former colleagues arrive with the gifts and the conversation stops. The girl apologizes for keeping her waiting, explaining that she just wants to thank Seo Jin for everything she has done for her. Seo Jin accepts it, and the two make promises to hang out together in the future. As they watch the girl leave, Hyun-jae tells Seo Jin that he didn't break up with her and he doesn't plan to. He says he isn't married yet, and so things can change at any time. Listening to him talk, Seo Jin can't hold it in anymore. Jinju was completely right about you. You're insane, she tells him. She asks him to leave and that they should never see each other again. Hyun-jae can't believe this. He is about to convince Seo Jin to change her mind when someone calls him from behind. He looks back to see his fiancée Sarang watching them. He panics as Sarang comes closer, telling him she thought he left. She notices Seo Jin and greets her too, asking if everything is okay between both of them. Seo Jin smiles and assures her that everything is fine. Sarang wants to know if it's true that Seo Jin is leaving the company, and when Seo Jin says yes, she thinks it's such a shame. Hugging Hyun-jae's arm, she invites Seo Jin to their wedding. Seo Jin smiles and says she has something else to do and leaves the two of them. Watching Seo Jin leave, Sarang stops smiling as she remembers that Hyun Seo Jin's name also has Jin in it. It is a moving day for our female lead. Seo Jin is busy cleaning and arranging her new apartment. There is a knock on the door and she goes to open it. Standing outside is her friend Jinju alongside another old friend, Chanwoo. The two have come to help her clean. Grateful for the help, Seo Jin invites them in and the three get to work, scrubbing, cleaning, and dusting until the apartment is sparkling clean. Tired, the three lie panting on the floor. Seo Jin thanks the two for coming to her aid. Chanwoo complains about being hungry and the three order some food. As they eat, her friends want to know when she resumes her new job. Seo Jin says she starts next week. Chanwoo teases her about starting afresh. She's got a new house and a new job. Seo Jin agrees and says she has got a new number too. The three toast to a new beginning. And sweet and sour pork, as Seo Jin adds. It's Monday, and Seo Jin is resuming her new job. Dressed in a pink shirt and black skirt, Seo Jin has a good feeling about this job, especially as she had a good dream last night, which she believes brought her good luck. She manages to get to work on time and steps into the elevator. She can't shake off the good feeling and even considers buying a lottery ticket. She steps out of the elevator and is amazed by the large office space. As she looks around, Secretary Kim spots her and comes up to her. Seo Jin is startled by him but returns his greeting. He shows her to her desk and she thanks him. Calling everyone to attention, he introduces Seo Jin as the new addition to the team. Seo Jin introduces herself with a bow and everyone welcomes her. Done with the team introduction, Secretary Kim asks her to drop off her bag as she still needs to be introduced to the president. As Secretary Kim leads her to the office and knocks on the door announcing their presence, Seo Jin can't help but feel nervous. This is her first meeting with her new boss. A deep voice asks them to come in. Leading her inside, Secretary Kim introduces her as Hyun Seo Jin. Seo Jin bows and introduces herself as the new addition to Secretary Team 1. As she looks up at her new boss, she is shocked, speechless. Standing before her, leaning against his desk, is her hot lover. It's Cha Joo-wan. Cha Joo-wan chuckles and welcomes her. Seo Jin can't control herself and calls his name, asking what he is doing here. Joo-wan laughs and says he owns the hotel. Staring at his nameplate, it is indeed his name written there. He is the owner of the Royal Hotel. Seo Jin can't believe that the Cha Joo-wan she knows turns out to be the owner of such a huge company. She suddenly feels faint, stumbling. Secretary Kim grabs her and steadies her before she falls over. Cha Joo-wan's possessive nature sparks off, and he orders Secretary Kim to take his hands off Seo Jin and leave. Secretary Kim, sensing danger, immediately lets go of Seo Jin and retreats. He wants to take Seo Jin with him, but Joo-wan stops him, saying they both have a lot to discuss. Seo Jin also agrees, and Secretary Kim leaves. Alone with the man of her thoughts, Seo Jin tries to pull herself together. The two sit down opposite each other. Cha Joo-wan pours her a cup of tea, which she accepts with stammered thanks. Grabbing the cup, she asks how he manages to run the hotel and the pension at the same time. Joo-wan smiles and explains to her that the pension went out of business a long time ago. He bought the land after the business was closed down. He points out to Seo Jin that she had the wrong information, and that was how she ran into him and they met. Seo Jin is angry at him for deceiving her. Joo-wan doesn't quite understand, but still apologizes for the deception. He adds that if they had a little more time, he would have explained, but she left without giving him a chance to. He queries her about her departure, wondering why she left without leaving behind her contact, desperate to know if she really intended to leave without seeing him again. Seo Jin is nervous and clasps her hand on her lap tightly. She apologizes and tells him to consider the job offer canceled. Joo-wan smiles, mocking her for planning to run away again. He leans forward and asks her if she really wants to put their time together in the past, leaving it as just pleasant memories. Seo Jin can't respond. Joo-wan turns his face and asks her to do as she pleases. He gives a little threat, warning her that no company will hire her with her level of irresponsibility, and tells her to go ahead and try. Seo Jin is frightened and asks him what he means by that. Joo-wan admits that he is the kind of man to hold a grudge, and he can easily find out any company she submits a resume to. Seo Jin stares aghast at him, wondering if he is threatening her. Joo-wan admits that he is so. She should therefore stay by his side like a good secretary. Seo Jin tries to defend herself, pointing out that he deceived her first, claiming that if she knew who he was, she wouldn't have slept with him. Joo-wan ignores her protests as he gets up and comes over to her side. He tells her that regardless, they did meet and spent days together. Seo Jin closes her eyes as she tries to find an excuse, but a soft feeling on her face startles her. Joo-wan has a hand on her face, turning her gaze to him. He wants to know if she really thinks she can just go off and live happily alone after driving him crazy. Holding her close, he dares her to deny that she hasn't thought about him even once during the time they were apart. Staring into his eyes, Seo Jin blushes furiously. She thought she could really turn her life around and start over as someone new, but slowly her hands comes up to grab his. Maybe her new beginning starts with him, she thinks. How could she ever place this man, this handsome man, behind her and pretend he is her past? Staring into his eyes, Seo Jin makes up her mind. Removing his hand from her face, she stands up as she informs him that she just wants to go back to being strangers with him. Joo-wan can't believe his ears. Seo Jin gives a bow, reintroducing herself to Joo-wan like she is meeting him for the first time. Joo-wan doesn't want to play along with her, though. He asks her if she really doesn't recognize him, and she replies that she doesn't, as this is her first time seeing him. Joo-wan gets up then, stepping closer to Seo Jin, causing her to move backwards in panic. He points out that this can't be the first time they are meeting. Seo Jin wants to know why he thinks so. Trapping her against the wall, he brings his face close to hers as he reveals that every one of his instincts is reacting to her like they know her perfectly. Flustered, Seo Jin turns and pushes him away. She insists that she doesn't know him and hurries out of his office. Outside, she leans against the door, her face red and her body trembling. She searches for the pension home on her phone but finds out that it doesn't exist any longer. proving that what Joo-wan said is true. Someone calls for her and she turns to find Secretary Kim watching her. He asks her to come with him for a chat. In the empty boardroom, Secretary Kim asks Seo Hyun-jin some basic questions, which she answers. Studying her, he notices she is pale and asks if the president said anything to upset her. Seo Hyun-jin insists that she is fine, but Secretary Kim can see that she is not. He goes straight to the point and inquires if she knew Joo-wan before. Seo Hyun-jin is scared to answer, but Secretary Kim assures her she can be honest. Seo Hyun-jin is still hesitant, so Secretary Kim explains that he and Joo-wan have been friends since childhood. He talks about how happy Joo-wan was when he knew it was Seo Hyun-jin they were interviewing. So, Secretary Kim wants to know if there is a story between them so he can help mediate. Seo Hyun-jin starts to explain that she met Joo-wan on her trip to Jeju Island, but a ringing phone interrupts her story. Secretary Kim picks up his call only to receive orders to come to Joo-wan's office. He tells Seo Hyun-jin that he needs to leave and assures her it will all work out. Staring at his receding back, Seo Hyun-jin wonders if she should leave. She mocks the good feeling she had earlier. After some thought, she decides to remain here. She came here to work and all she would do was work. Besides, she remembers Joo-wan's threats and is sure he won't let her leave anyway. Cha Joo-wan, who has spent all morning peeping at Seo Hyun-jin, invites Secretary Kim into his office. He wants to know what the two spoke about. He almost explodes when he hears that all she said was they ran into each other in Jeju Island. Secretary Kim has to calm him down, reminding him that she couldn't finish the story since Joo-wan dragged him over. Once his temperamental boss is calm, Secretary Kim demands to know what exactly went on between the two of them. Joo-wan explains their meeting was a misunderstanding and that she mistook him for the owner of the pension, resulting in them spending a week together. It is Secretary Kim's turn to almost explode. He demands to know what spending a week together really means. Joo-wan tells him it is exactly what it means. And although Seo Hyun-jin is planning to brush off their time together, he isn't willing to do so. Secretary Kim asks him to calm down and reveals that Seo Hyun-jin asked to cancel her appointment. Joo-wan laughs mischievously, insisting that he would never do that. In fact, from today onwards, he wants Seo Hyun-jin to accompany him on all his schedules. Secretary Kim tries to protest as it isn't part of her duties, but Joo-wan shuts him up by asking if he is planning to disobey the president. Cha Joo-wan doesn't stop in his effort to get Seo Hyun-jin back. Walking into her shared office, everyone is shocked to see him. He announces that in order to welcome the new team member, there will be a company dinner. He suggests that Seo Hyun-jin pick the menu. Seo Hyun-jin is flustered. "Huh, me?" she asks. Joo-wan nods and suggests she pick something simple like grilled meat. The mention of grilled meat reminds the two of their first night on Jeju Island where Joo-wan grilled meat for her. Seo Hyun-jin agrees. Pleased with himself, Joo-wan leaves. Seo Hyun-jin stands silently as the rest of the ladies blush and make plans on how to get closer to the president using this opportunity. Seo Hyun-jin, however, is sad. Work is over, and the team is gathered in a restaurant for their dinner. Joo-wan urges everyone to eat up as the bill is on him. He tries to speak to Seo Hyun-jin, but a lady interrupts him and offers to toast him. Joo-wan has no choice but to accept. Sitting opposite Seo Hyun-jin, he gets jealous as he is forced to watch Secretary Kim feed her. The dinner is over, but Cha Joo-wan is drunk. Secretary Kim and Seo Hyun-jin have to support him to the car. Secretary Kim wonders why his boss is so affected today. He settles him into the car and asks Seo Hyun-jin to watch over him for a bit while he runs to the convenience store. Seo Hyun-jin agrees to do so. The two sit beside each other in the car. Still drunk, Joo-wan asks for some water and Seo Hyun-jin grabs a bottle, offering it to him. Thinking it is Kim Woo-jin with him in the car, Joo-wan begins to complain about Seo Hyun-jin, wondering why she is so complicated. He can't help but feel like she is slipping further away. He mumbles about how much he wants this to work. Listening to him bare his heart, Seo Hyun-jin is touched. She turns to face him only to find that he has moved closer to her. Staring into her eyes, he directly asks how much longer she is going to pretend not to know him for. Enjoying this recap so far? Comment part 2 below. Until next time, ciao!